Is that working? So you set up a nice black background like this, but then you're kind of like, I don't know how to film. How do I emulate this? But the background's right there. I can touch it. It's right there. I'm just gonna grab one of my key lights. If I just come back here, that is where it is. You can't even see it when I'm pointing a light straight at it. That does somewhat surprise me. But hey, it's right there. But you can't see it. Now, I am using a DSLR and lots of lights to achieve this. But I want to know, and I want to show, how you can do this with other things. For example, I've got an iPhone. This is an iPhone 13. I have an iPhone 8. I have a really old Samsung that only records in 1080p. We'll try that as well. GoPro 9. Obviously the camera I'm already using, which is the EOS 200D. And I'll also try with my R7. I'll also show what lights I'm using. There's one over there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one either side there. Plenty of lights. So, first of all, the background here is nothing special. It's two black tablecloths hanging from the ceiling. It doesn't get much easier than that. The rest is all just to do with the camera settings and the lighting. So, let's get started. So I'll list down here the settings I use when I can choose them. How do I do it with the 200D? Well, apart from the absurd amount of lights, all I have to do is set the camera to a level where I am sharp and clear and the background don't exist. In this specific case, I've set the camera to ISO 400, an f-stop of 3.5 because that's what my current lens will let me do, and a shutter speed of 1/125. Now, it works, it's nice and clear, like I can wave my hands. It's fine. The background's right there, it doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to grab one of my phones. I'm going to grab the iPhone 13 first. So my personal phone is my everyday phone. I'm not going to show you the screen, but I am going to tell you what I'm doing. So, because it's an iPhone 13, I will do these tests at 4K. Now, I could just use the inbuilt iPhone app, and I will show you what the inbuilt iPhone app looks like. However, I have now found out about the Blackmagic app, camera app, which gives me a lot more control. So we'll use that first. Now let me just set that up. Okay, so I've just set that up. I'm just going to put my phone right here, right next to the camera. This is what it looks like with the iPhone 13 with the wide angle lens. Let's see what that looks like the first time the settings were completely out of whack, so we're just going to get this right. I don't know what settings I actually need, so we'll just test this multiple times until I get it right. So for anyone that's ever used an iPhone before, the default app, no settings. I'm just going to let it do its thing. Okay, I'm also aiming it a little bit more at me this time because I didn't quite get the aim right last time, but it doesn't matter, you can see what it looks like. So, iPhone 13, wide angle lens, iPhone apps. Let's just see what it looks like. So if you'll have seen from that clip, though it works and I'm crisp, you can also see the background. And personally, that's not ideal. But if you've got an iPhone 13, you can install the Blackmagic app and you can get that black separation that I am working with. So, let's move on to the next camera. Okay, next we're going to try using the GoPro 9. Now, the GoPro 10, the 11, the 12, if this one works, they will be able to do it. You'll just need to configure it to work. I only have a 9, that's what we're going to use. I'm going to be using the inbuilt cinematic, which is 4K, 30 FPS, L+. Let's just have a quick look at what that looks like. That is what the GoPro 9 looks like. We're just testing different cameras under the same lighting conditions. It looks terrible! We left ISO on automatic. Don't do that. Okay, for the GoPro 9, we're going to choose a whole bunch of custom settings to try and tweak it correctly to this environment. 5K 30, you can always crop that down. The lens to wide, bitrate high, shutter 1/120, ISO minimum 100, ISO max 100. So let's have a look at my now highly modified settings. This is what it looks like with those settings that I just said before. You can always adjust these things a little bit in post It's not normally a big deal. But if you're completely washed out, say goodbye to any realistic options. A little bit on the dark side. Let's fix that. So we're going to set that to 1/60. And since it's still a little bit on the dark side, I'm going to set the ISO to 200. This should be a lot better. I should be pretty close to correct. The background should be pretty close to black. Because I'm using such a wide setting, you can see my extra light over there and you can see a bunch of stuff. But look, you can crop it and it still looks fine. It works perfectly. That's what the GoPro works like. So you can also do it with the GoPro. Gonna need to try the R7 next. This is what the R7 looks like. So if I just let my R7 do its own thing, this is what we get. It's fine. I haven't tweaked anything. I've just left it to do what it's gonna do. Not to mention, I can see the background subtly, but there's a lot more light than I would normally want. In many ways, I'm going to probably keep on using a camera like this one until I can get the right lens for the R7. That would help. So the iPhone 8 can film in 4K, but it cannot use the Blackmagic app. So you're limited to what the inbuilt app will do by default. So that is what we're going to do now in 4K. Okay, iPhone 8 coming up. Okay, I'm just going to hold it. So this is the inbuilt app. I've not changed anything else. You can see the background, but you're not far off. I'm going to try and fix that in post and see what I can do. So let's see if I can get this older Android phone now to work. Is my face well and clear? Is the background gone? That's what we're aiming for. Let's see what that looks like. This is at 1080p 60 on the Samsung whatever. I'll put the specs below. No, this phone does not work at all. As you can see, I am a ghost. I don't even think I can fix that in post, but we'll see what I can do. So, I'm going to limit the power output of these lights to 1/4 of their usual. I want to adjust the settings on the camera to bring it all up. But first, this is what it looks like with greatly reduced lighting. And I'm now going to try and fix it in software. I don't know what this looks like, but this is what I now look like. Now back to normal. And now I'm going to change the settings on the camera to try and bring my light levels up. But I will probably lose some quality because I'll have to bump the ISO. Or maybe not. This is me doing 1/60. The side lights, orange, bluey cyan, way more prominent. Gives it a little bit more drama. Let's go back to normal and we'll close this off. So obviously, none of this is extensive, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. I actually find it, based on all of these tests, the 200D is actually probably the best camera I've currently got to do this. It's reduced dynamic range. The Tamron 10 to 24 lens that I'm using, which is an older lens, but works really well on this camera, which does not work very well on my R7, which does give the R7 a very unfair disadvantage. You can get away with other phones, but the quality will vary based on your settings, your config, etc. If I were to spend a lot of time fine-tuning these phones, I'm pretty sure I could get more out of them. I've pretty much just left them to do their own thing, and they've been fine for the sake of this test. However, a cheap DSLR with a wide-angle lens is probably going to be your best option. So your phone will work just fine. You just got to learn to tweak the settings. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it was at least somewhat useful. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Goodbye.